Today, I want to introduce you to the amazing Amara Gisele Jones Velasquez, extravaganza.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. And thank you for coming on today and having a discussion with me. Just to talk about transness and the dance scene. Obviously how these things interplay with Vogue and just queer nightlife in general. And your experiences and our experiences as the duals. But yeah, so I don't know where to start. Where should we start?
Talk about how you know each other.
Oh yeah, we should start. We should start with how we know each other. And I can't remember if we met before or after the pandemic, but I do remember it was a very. Can I say the word cunty?
Yeah.
It was a very cunty Halloween.
Yeah.
Where the family was dressed as Russian dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the first night that I met you through Yari.
Yes, I remember the night fiercely. It was Halloween 2020. You were in a big red vampire-esque coat. You had vampire teeth. The dolls are sick. I was still a butch queen, so I wasn't trans yet, but I was baby trans girl. You already knew.
Yes, we're giving Velma cunt.
Yes. Okay. So Yari, my queer mother, Yari, she had told me the theme of, the Halloween party and everything. And I, for some reason, thought, okay, screw all of that. I'll go as a Scooby-Doo character, Velma, down. So, yeah, it was a really nice night, though. We were celebrating Perp's birthday, and you gave me one of the longest hugs of my entire existence. And it was from that hug forward that I said, this is my transmasculine uncle. I love him down.
Aw, my angel. Yeah, that was a blessing of a night. Yeah, and obviously, of course, continued a long life-standing friendship. Yeah, and it's been really special. And now I feel like we've been growing together, obviously, but also I feel like we've been experiencing the rave scene a lot in the same time period.
Yeah, and in different spaces too. I feel like, especially now with you being in the UK and experiencing the very rich UK rave scene and seeing how also the Europe scene influences the US, specifically in the queer rave scenes as well in those spaces. It's really cool. We're in very unique times, I feel like. And then the both of us are also delving into all types of queer nightlife, right? So we're in ballroom too. So it gives very rich, housey culture there.
Yeah.
Very POC, very Black, very what it needs to be.
Exactly. Living to serve a moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And keep the legacy going.
Exactly. Give the parties what it needs. And yeah, so I started raving when I first came to London. And then that's how I got into raving. And then when I went back home to New York for a little bit to see you and the family, our raving experience, our first one together, which was really whack because it was hard meat disco.
Yeah. Oh my God. I fully just apologize for even suggesting that.
That was crazy. So I think what might be an interesting topic to talk about as far as rave scenes, different types of rave scenes being the dolls at raves. And the fact that the first one that we went to was horse meat disco. And that was crazy because it was fucking 4,000 people. And we were probably only some of the handful of maybe like 4 trans people in the entire night in a sea of cis gay men.
We were the only 2 trans people in the room. And like a sea of cis white gay males. Yeah, definitely an experience. So one of my extravaganza siblings, Johnny, Tika Extravaganza, and their husbands, they usually, you know, I like to party and go out and rave with family always. I think that's something that's so important when it comes to safety. Going into any nightlife scene or space is going with family and friends that can really make sure you're safe. You know, how are you getting there? How are you getting back? You know, and if you're doing drugs there, darling, how are you getting those? Are they clean? You know, what is it giving?
Right.
So it's giving very much so like family protects family. And they had offered, you know, to take me to horse meat before. So I went once alone. And I definitely, in retrospect, am taking back the same notes. It's a very, very cis, straight, gay space. And with that can come a little bit of navigating misogyny at times, you know. Yeah, it's...
Well, because I think like perhaps the most frustrating experience in that rave was like honestly trying to like walk anywhere, and how like consistently cis men were just like pushing us out of the way, bashing us with our shoulders, like giving no like space, right? Because they simply didn't like care or have like any awareness. So it was giving like very misogyny.
Yeah, boots. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I guess the most beautiful part of that experience was obviously like with family, with Johnny and their husband and you and I. But luckily we were able to get behind the DJ, which I think really gave us the space to like embrace and party the way that we needed to, because we actually had room to like dance, which was really nice.
Yeah, and in that like VIP section, the thing is the extravaganzas are everywhere. Valentina Extravaganza was there, and another one of amazing nightlife individuals is Princess Magnifique. They are somebody that's very, very closely tied to the house and has been in the nightlife scene from like the 1970s, 1980s on. And, you know, meeting these people, rightfully so in VIP, was just like, it was nice. Like, I feel like trans people, like being in VIP as a trans person feels correct. It's like,
right.
We bring that energy into spaces that, you know, at times people may, who knows, view as entertaining for whatever reasons, whether they get their life through us or they're physically entertained by what we do, how we dance, how we move, whatever it is. We deserve to be seen, to get in for free, to really...
Adults should not be paying. Also, like, very like specifically, I think in reference to like trans women and trans feminine people, how much the gay community does see like trans women as entertainment and not like so much as like people. So if you're going to treat trans people as entertainment, you best treat the entertainment correctly.
Right.
Taking away and giving space into the space and not expecting shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what I love to do. And I love to really take up that space. That night I was dancing on the DJ table, on the DJ booth, you know, and I with butch jeans.
Yes. You even made out with someone. It was really cute. Oh my God.
A space like Horse Meat Disco is definitely one of New York City's gayest raves. And it's interesting navigating like that and then other types of queer raves and parties in New York, because I feel like the space changes depending on its audience. And like you know, this is why like there should be like diversity within the types of people that come in, because it gives very much so like I feel like that space could have used a little more dolls.
Yeah,
you know.
space could 100%. But I think, yeah, there is such an intensity that comes with extremely masculine spaces. It's that mask for mask energy, babes, and the majority of the time it's just not fucking cute. But then also what was, I think, really nice about that night is the only reason we went to Horse Meat Disco is because we couldn't figure out how to get into Unter.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until like 3 a.m. that we finally got an address from someone. And then we were able to see Nita DJ the end of Unter and Volvox, which was cunt as fuck, and experiencing the extreme change from like Horse Meat to Unter, which is very like underground, much more queer. I think it's one of the raves in New York that really can emulate most closely what the raves in London can provide. Even though it's not like close, it still has that type of energy, which I just thought was amazing. And that space was so cunt. There were so many dolls. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think for me, looking at Horse Meat Disco and Unter is like night and day. From what I was talking about earlier about like the types of people too, it was like, you know, a lot more balance of the femme fatales, of the dolls, of trans people, non-binary folk. You know, it wasn't just one type of person in that space. The music was a lot even more to my liking, you know, a lot more techno.
One was disco and one was techno, and those are differences. And disco and house are really good, but I definitely wasn't vibing with all of the DJs at Horse Meat Disco.
Yeah.
Whereas like Unter just gave. I mean, also Nita just like is fucking giving all of the time. That bitch is
Right. There's only 3, or this year there was only 3 Unter scheduled. So the second one happened last month. I didn't get to go, but I went to the very first one this year. And Nita, who is just a doll, also a part of the House of Aviance and Ballroom. So important to know. Kevin Aviance, I mean, Beyonce literally is using Kevin's sound bites from music that they've made years ago. So when I tell you like these people influence pop culture, these people influence, we are the culture, period. New York City nightlife and just queer nightlife around the world really like makes the worlds go round, period. But yeah, she had gotten me tickets, so I didn't have to pay. I was on her list. It was giving. I got there early. I was there with family. It was a beautiful night. There was like 5 floors. The bottom floor was like really dark, and it was like very, very dark, deep techno-y, like the
where each level was like the different levels from like hell to heaven.
Yeah. And then at the top floor was Nita. She was DJ. Yeah. And you know, the music was just like there. Like everything was like more light. And I mean, even the lighting was different. The space, all 5 floors were really filled up. The spaces, how Unter really like gives you an experience. It's just next level.
Yeah. And then like, so I guess like a good question that I have, since you have been able to experience a lot more raves in New York than I have, but like, how do you feel like the safety like challenges are? Like how like protective is like a rave like Unter in comparison to maybe like one like Horse Meat Disco, in like safety, like wellness, how safe do those areas like feel to you as a trans woman?
Well, I'll say that Unter definitely provides a bit more of a compassionate, safe space. And I'm not saying there's not love and compassion at spaces like Horseman as well. It's just, I think with misogyny comes hypersexualizing, comes, sometimes maybe not asking consent for things. A lot is going on in those spaces. So the top floor may be, cute little rooms where you can make music. The bottom floor might be a little dungeon with some things going on. So I think that also plays into like the safety aspect. Also like making sure that like the people around you, that you have friends. As a trans woman specifically, like that's my top priority. It's not going to raves or parties alone or expecting to meet someone there. It's going together, making sure we're sleeping, we're going back home together, we have plans already fixed. So none of us are going, like, either drinking or smoking or on drugs and then making poor decisions.
Yeah. And then, no, absolutely. The importance of like going with family. I just could not imagine going to raves alone. And I've done it like once, but the anxiety that comes with that, like the liminal space in between like home and the destination, the aftermath of getting home like late or early in the morning, whether that's like public transit, which can be super dangerous. I would not fly without the dolls. Also, Alex keeps telling me that we have 16-ish minutes left. Oh, God. I'm trying to read.
Well, I'll tell you because you've been talking about family a lot, and I'm imagining people listening might wonder like what you mean when you're talking about family. Like, are you talking about biological family, or are you talking about a different kind of family? And can you describe like what you mean by that?
Right. For like imagining that the straights are listening and not understanding the concept of what family means to like the queer community and dolls. So like, I think, when it comes to like our family, Amara, like that is like it's from our trans community. Like it's not biological, but it's like something a lot stronger and a lot more active and supportive. Like I just know for one thing, I would not get by in life if it was not for you and my family. My chosen queer family. I literally don't know where the fuck I'd be or how okay I'd be. And honestly, probably not at all.
Thank you. And same to you. It's the same way. It's like chosen family at times can be a lot more meaningful and powerful than biological family. And, it's something you get to construct, and it's the people that check in. It's the people that stay up for you, stay up late and make sure that you're safe. It's the people that are really worried and concerned with, your physical and mental health. Chosen family can teach you so many things about yourself that you didn't even know. And I know I can say that about, you and my aunties and uncles and fathers. Chosen family for me is also like my extravaganzas. Because I have a ballroom house of family, and then your person as a trans woman, it's important for me to also have just chosen family in general, people that I can call my uncle. But not everybody gets that. I call you my uncle because you're my uncle. Okay. Not a lot of people are my uncle. I don't have a lot of uncles, darling.
Thank you.
And not a lot of people are my mothers. I only have two mothers, Gisele Extravaganza and Yari Jones.
Yeah, period.
I have one. Right. I love.
Something that I think about a lot in like the trans community in the rave scene in London. I feel like the difference between like London and New York as far as like the trans community and like having trans parents goes, I feel like there's like a lack of like trans like mothers and fathers for all the baby trans people in London. And it can be hard to see as somebody that has like such strong like family connections. Like your mothers and your fathers are the people that are teaching you, that are holding you like accountable, that are making sure that you grow up right, that are making sure that you come correct. And just like how deeply important those like figures are in a trans person's life. Like, what does having like a trans mother mean to you?
Having a trans mother is everything. And, you know, I also have, like I said before, 2 mothers. So I'm especially fortunate that I tap into 2 grown trans women for advice and for nurturing and for an ear. And it's beautiful because these women have really proven and shown me that it's possible. It's possible to find love. It's possible to be happy. It's possible to really show up for yourself and be unapologetic about your self-expression and who you are, and not tone yourself down, and how to be confident and have that chin always held up high. You know, these are things that oftentimes you do need, trans women specifically do need trans mothers to teach them. And it is sad because I feel like in the UK, like there is a lack, just like in the New York scene. I see a lot of girls that don't have parents, and it's like,
yeah,
also probably don't have biological mothers as well. So
yeah,
it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because it is so important to character building. And I mean, damn, my mother Yari, she got my style together. She took Darling, she took me to Primark, she took me to all the stores and just taught me how to dress. She gave me my first hormones. I mean, my first injection, my first spironolactone, you know,
I feel really, really blessed for Yari, because I don't believe I'd be half the man that I am today if it wasn't for like her love and friendship. And that bitch is the love of my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I guess also something, because I feel like for our family, our dolls, because it's very interesting, I feel like the way in which we think of the word doll, in comparison to way like a lot of people use the word doll. So I guess I just wanted like how you would define what being a doll is to you, and like we could talk about that a bit as like the closing, because I feel like the way in which our family approaches the word doll and the concept of doll isn't necessarily like trans based, but very based on how we are supporting and loving each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my definition of doll would be somebody that really just has their shit together. Just somebody that you see them in public, you don't even know their name. You're not even, you know, they just came into a room, but doll energy, it's identifiable. It's a feeling that you get and affects, whether that's through their movements or their style, whatever it is. And yeah, I think that like my definition of a doll is also like not necessarily just like a trans woman. I think that's what it is used to describe, you know, doll, a trans femme. But I think again, it's like an energy. It's like it's very that.
Yeah. The dolly energy. Think about it. It's like even like Denise, like Yari's partner, like doll boots, irregardless of how like mask.
Right.
Like that bitch is a doll. So just like the beauty in that. And then, you know, even like having like cis friends that still just like give us that doll fucking energy. And how they like show up for us, which is so stunning. You know, I always think about Anaya in those like instances. That bitch is a doll boots.
Yes, our sister.
Yeah.
I love that girl. And she's always there too, you know, supporting the house, supporting both sides of, you know, our entire chosen family.
Mm-hmm.
It's also important to have, you know, masculine figures too. No shade, no shade. Like my father, Jose Extravaganza.
Yeah, I think. Oh, you just cut out? What was that?
I said I'm very fortunate because I don't think, you know, everybody has, you know, a father, two mothers, you know, uncles and sisters and brothers. You know, for some dolls, it can be a struggle and a pump, and you're managing a lot on your own, you know.
Yeah, I think fathers in the trans community are, you know, obviously just as important as our trans mothers. So yeah, when I do think of like father figures, looking up to Denise, they the masked dad. But,
yeah,
just like in which those types of fathers can really teach us, and you know, something that I strive for growing into, being a good trans dad to my children, but just like healing that masculinity side of things for all of us.
right. Like even, I mean, I just went to my bio dad's house like 2 days ago to pick some blackberries. I have a blackberry bush that I planted from seed, and really, she's getting real fish. The berries are getting huge. But long story short, yeah, it was nice to see him and to see him as Amara and to not tone myself down or worry about what I'm wearing or if my titties are showing or this and that, and to just hug him and see him and, you know, still have him call me Anthony, but not be triggered by it, you know? Like, I'm showing up how I show up and I'm teaching him how to love me, you know? And that's not every, but definitely, like, I feel that in the meantime, while he's still learning how to love me fully, and we may not even get to that, I have, you know, masculine figures in my life. You know, I have Johnny Extravaganza, I have my uncles, Casil, I have, you know, Jose Extravaganza to really help me navigate life and dating and not carrying all night and, you know, getting sleep and the gigs and paying my rent and getting me secure in my finances and just who I am as a woman.
Yeah. Oh, babes. Yeah. So I guess I'm trying to figure out how to bring like the closing part into like family and like raves, since we have like 6 minutes. But yeah, just the beauty of like community and how like beautiful spaces such as like raves, like the dance floors, can really be these places to grow and find security, especially when you create such a good like community around you, a community of protection, like freedom. Yeah, babe, it's been really hard to party out here without you.
Don't worry. I'm going to come. We're going to shake it up and I'm going to vote down. I'm going to gag the people. Okay. Because that's too, is like, there's power in queer people just releasing their spirit on the floor. And I think that's why so many people flock to the ballroom community as well. It's because it's a space where trans people dominate. And it's something that we created. And, you know, the rave scene also as well. It's like very poetic because, you know, queer people are spearheading music. Queer people are on the floors. Queer people are coming, and it's our space. We own it. We created it. And there's community within that. You know, I think that's a lot more powerful because there's love, there's family within that. When you go to any other club, it's just some trade, get a nut and get a bitch and take her home, and you know, it's like not the same thing.
Yeah. I've made the mistake of going to straight raves. Fabric was my first one. That was a mistake. You guys were good, but holy fuck. that almost scared me entirely away from like raves in general. So yeah.
What was it? What happened there? What was the?
Oh, I went with some straight friends. It was my first rave, and then they knew like one of the DJs, so we were able to get into the green room, but we didn't get wristbands. And then because Fabric is crazy gigantic area, we left the green room, and then somebody that worked there let me go into like one of the DJ booths, and then I at this point don't know what happened to all of my friends, except I did find out the next day that my friend, because there's no cell phone signal there, so you couldn't like talk to anybody, so I had to leave the DJ booth to try to text my friends, to which nobody responded because no signal. And then she had ended up like losing her phone. Somebody took her wallet. Like it was a whole thing. So we were separated the whole night. So I was just by myself and I couldn't get back into the green room because no wristbands. So I couldn't find anybody. I was alone. I was in a mini skirt, just surrounded by like straight men, that were being like very aggressive, very touchy. Like it was not cute. On top of, well, eventually I just like sat on the stairs for like a really long time because I was just like, what am I going to do? I just have to wait for the buses to start running. And then like a group of girls like were walking down the stairs and I'm like, oh, are you okay? Are you alone? So I hung out with some like cis girls, which was very nice, in that sense, because that's obviously like, was like protecting in a way that I just didn't have. So yeah, it was really weird. Yeah, and I would never go back to Fabric again. I will never go to a straight rave. And I will actually do everything I can to avoid gay raves as well until cis gay men fit together, specifically cis white gay men. Hashtag F-slur. Get it
yeah, it's a lot. There's so many parties in New York though. Like you have a large pool. I mean, just off the dome, Unter, Battleham, Recta Basement, Not Safe for Work, Femme Fatale, Poppy Juice, Horse Me Disco. Like, I feel like each one has a different audience. But again, when you're a trans person or just, other, like it's gonna challenge your safety. You know, the type of, but family first, baby.
Yeah. Always go with family. Try not to go alone.
Never.
One more minute. Is there anything that you would like to say in this last minute, my love?
I would like to say thank you so much, baby. I miss you. I'm in New York now, and it's like, I feel like queer people always have to deal with this. Like sometimes we're in separate spaces, but our spirits and our energy are like so tethered together and connected. Like I always feel you, even pumping the streets when my transgender ass is walking.
I am consistently incorporating your energy into the way I interact in everyday life with everybody. That energy made me so strong. So thank you.
Thank you, baby. I love you. And, we will turn it very soon. I'll have to visit. We'll see each other and we'll shake ass.
Yes, exactly. And then I think we have a few seconds left, but thank you so much for talking with us today on this podcast.